Oh. Hey there, everybody. Yeah, as per usual, I am the WEGAF. This is WEGAF Reviews, and welcome to our 3-year anniversary. Yeah, it's not really worth cheering about this time, because sad to say, we're not going to be getting a proper anniversary episode with the flag and everything like we did last year. Why? Ugh. Because it's too hot. Oh, it's too hot out here to talk about it. Hang on. Let's go inside and I'll tell you all about it. So what did I mean by it's too hot? I mean exactly that. It's been very hot in my neck of the woods this summer. I don't know what it's been like where you're from, but around here we have had heat wave after heat wave. Like multiple days of brain oozing out your ears sort of heat. Freaking, 100 plus. Minimum 98 for days and days and days and days and days and days. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I find it difficult to, get creative work done during that sort of heat. I know these people who live in like Arizona or the Sahara Desert or something. I'm like, you wuss. Why don't you just turn on the AC? I don't have any AC. I don't have air conditioning. I got air. And when the air is too hot, I find it difficult to work. That's the way it is. So, basically, what it boils down to is I did have the typical anniversary video all planned out. I had the script written. It was all ready to be done. And then heat! You will not get anything done sort of heat. So, yeah. But, simply because one type of anniversary video cannot get done doesn't mean none can. There will always be an anniversary video. So long as I am making this show, there will be. So, what am I going to do? Well, how about another food video? But not a comic cook this time, because this doesn't actually have anything to do with the comics. However, it is very much in the spirit of The Flag. The Flag is about the most American character you can get, more or less. And so, I have decided to do something he would approve of. I am going to make the world's most American burger! So what makes my burger more American than any of the other burgers out there? Well, I had to tackle this problem, of course, and I figured that the way to make mine stand out for its Americanness was to combine different types of food from different places around America, thereby ensuring that it encompassed not just one type of American, but all Americans. Now, of course, America is a big freaking country, so I couldn't literally get all of it, but culturally speaking, there are a few basic areas that I had to take into account. There's the East Coast, there's the South, there's the Midwest, largely known as the parts in the middle, there's the Southwest, and then there's the West Coast, which is kind of mixed in a bit with the Southwest, but is largely its own thing. So let's start with the East Coast, which was actually pretty easy. What's one of the iconic East Coast dishes? The Philly cheesesteak. And what type of cheese is on the Philly cheesesteak? provolone cheese. So our burger will be topped with provolone cheese. Next we move down to the south. Now southern cuisine is its own rather unique thing, and I could have chosen any number of interesting things, but I decided the southern food that lent itself most obviously to a burger was Koolickles, or Kool-Aid pickles. Now Kool-Aid pickles are a little odd, so I should just quickly explain what they are here. And to do that, I first need to explain Kool-Aid for my international viewers who may not know what it is. Kool-Aid is a classic American powdered drink, basically, that you mix up with water and sugar. It's a classic, like, picnic drink or at kids' birthday parties, and a lot of people over here have very nostalgic feelings for it. So how you get a Kool-Aid pickle, basically, is you take a jar of dill pickles, make Kool-Aid, and put them in with the Kool-Aid for a week or so, until they've soaked up all the Kool-Aid and become Koolickles. They're very popular, apparently, in specifically in the Mississippi Delta region. So, Koolickles is our second ingredient. Moving on to the Midwest. This was easy. If there's one thing Midwesterners love, it's ranch dressing, which is another specifically American thing. Basically, it's buttermilk-based sort of salad dressing. It has kind of a cheesy sort of a taste, I think. It's pretty good. On to the Southwest, which took me a little while, but what I ultimately landed on was the prickly pear cactus. Now, cactus of any sort may not sound particularly appealing to those who've never had it, but in fact, it's actually a fairly common ingredient in Southwest cooking, both with the fruit of the cactus and of its pads, the latter of which are commonly referred to as Nopales and are a fairly common ingredient in, like, stews and all kinds of things. And, as it happens, they also go on burgers, so Nopales for the Southwest! And finally, we come to the West Coast, my home stomping grounds. And this one was particularly easy, because most of the West Coast is California, and one of the classic American hamburgers is called the California Burger. Now, these days, California burgers tend to involve, like, avocado and bacon, but what it used to be was simply a burger with a slice of onion, tomatoes, and lettuce. Therefore, my burger will have a slice of onion, tomatoes, and lettuce. So that's all the regions covered, but it still lacks that certain special something. And what is that certain special something? Macaroni and cheese! Who doesn't love a good macaroni and cheese? It's not only delicious, it's American as apple pie, Thomas Jefferson's favorite food. And, as it happens, mac and cheese burgers, using deep-fried macaroni and cheese as a substitute for regular hamburger buns, has become a sort of a thing lately. So when I heard that, I knew that had to be part of my world's most American burger. But what could make it even more American than that? Well, we still haven't dealt with the actual burger patty, now have we? And what goes into our patty? Bison! Yes, the iconic American mammal! We are making this a bison burger! So now we know, the world's most American burger shall be those things, and I am about to make it for you! To the kitchen! To make the world's most American burger, aside from what has already been listed, you will need the following items and ingredients. A chopping board, paper towels, a mortar and pestle, 2 largish bowls and 1 small one, a sharp knife, 2 pans, one of them with lid, a saucepan of about these dimensions, 2 large slotted spoons, a cooking spoon, a spreading knife, a spatula, oil of no particular type. It can be vegetable oil, this is safflower oil. It just needs to be something that you can deep fry with, and a fair amount. amount of it. Olive oil, eggs, mayonnaise, lemon, and last but not least,
Uncle Sam cereal.
well, that just about wraps it up, so enough delays, let's get going on our
World's most American burger. Yes.
So as with any burger, the real key to everything is advanced preparation. So first let's start off with the Koolickles. Look at these.
Aren't they kind of cool looking?
And yes, I did make these myself. And I'm not going to go into... Obviously, it's not quite as simple as,
Oh, you just make Kool-Aid and pickles and mix them together.
No, it's a little more complex than that, but I'm not going into it here. Take too long. I will link to... Actually, I followed the directions of a video, which I will link to down below. But yeah, these are my Koolickles, and here is the one we are going to slice up. Next, a slice of red onion, like so. If you want to get technical, it's actually a slice and a little bit, because this is not quite even, but whatever.
Red onion.
Next, the tomato. Lovely summer tomato. I'm basically going to just slice all this up, or most of it, enough to have a nice lot of tomato on my mac and cheese bun.
Ooh, yes! Next, lettuce.
I believe the standard for burgers is actually iceberg lettuce, but this is butter lettuce, both because it's nice small lettuce that is nicely sized for a burger, and also because it's my favorite. Let's take one of these leaves here. Alright, so I was greedy and took two. Sue me. Next comes an ingredient that we're actually not tackling quite yet, but I should show it to you and explain. The mac and cheese. Now, this is obviously baked mac and cheese. It's a leftover piece from a larger batch. And what I am going to do is slice it in half. You see? And then, well, you'll see. Now, this is straight out of the fridge, which means it's cold. Actually, it's more or less room temperature now, but you want it at least a bit warm, or what's the fun? So I am actually going to put this in the toaster oven to heat up a little bit while we continue the next stage of our process. Next we have one of the more obscure ingredients on the list, which some of you may not have heard of, the Uncle Sam cereal. Now, Uncle Sam cereal, it's a health food cereal. It's
Toasted whole wheat, berry flakes, and flaxseed.
It's very old. They've been making it since 1908, and I've tried some of it on its own. It's, but you know,
World's most American burger,
Uncle Sam. I couldn't resist trying it out as a breading for the mac and cheese, and it works great. So, what you want to do is take some Uncle Sam cereal
and grind it up in the mortar and pestle,
which I have actually already done because that takes a while. So here's the end result in one of those bowls. See, you want to grind it up until it's nice and relatively even and ground fairly small. Finally, we come to the Nopales, the cactus. Now, this is pre-cut up. You can buy this at Mexican grocery stores and places that there's a fairly large Hispanic population in my area, so it's not too difficult to come across this. And now the prep is largely done. So now we come to the first bit of cookedness that needs to be done.
We need to cook the Nopales.
And for that, I forgot to mention, we will need a little pot like this and some water. So let's get going to the stove now. Now, how you cook nopales it's a two-step process when you're just doing them on their own and you're not mixing them into anything else. you first boil them in some water, and then finish cooking them up in the pan. You need to do them in the water because these are they have kind of a starchy, sticky sap when they're just fresh like this, and you need to boil them in water to get rid of that. So we shall cut back to them bubbling and boiling away in water, and you shall see for yourself. Right, there they are, bubbling away in the boiling water. Now, they just have to stay in there for a few minutes until they start changing color just a little bit. And then that stage of things is done, and then you strain them and put them into the pan. There you go, they've been de-sapped, and now you just do them up in a little bit of olive oil in the normal sort of stir-fry way, just for a minute or two. You don't have to do them very much, just to get them a little more cooked, at which point we tip them out into our little small bowl. And there they are in our little small bowl. Now, the final step with them is pretty simple. Just squeeze some lemon juice on top of them a bit, and mix them together a bit, and that's the Nopales, the prickly pear, and we can set them off to the side and focus on the next step of the process, which is an exciting step of the process with which it would not be complete, and that is the mac and cheese. So the first step of the mac and cheese is it will be deep fried, so you need to get the oil heating up. Now, I don't have any specific amount of oil. You need just enough to dunk it in. This is a little less than halfway in that pot. Now that's going to take a while, and while it is heating up, we get to the next important stage, which is getting the mac and cheese ready to be our bun. Now what we do, it's very simple. You don't really need a chopping board, just be careful, is cut it down the middle like so. Do so carefully. Try and be reasonably even. There. You see? Now, it's falling apart a little bit, but not to a degree that it'd be particularly difficult to... Now, see, that's going to be our bottom, and that's going to be our top bun. Alright, so the next step, in order to deep fry the mac and cheese, you must first dunk it in an egg wash, or an egg. So I'm just putting the last egg in now. You need about 2 or 3 of them. You might be able to do with less, but I'm not taking any chances here. Now, you just add a little bit of salt and scramble it up. I'll add the salt off camera. But yeah, you just do it like you do scrambled eggs, you know? Very standard sort of a thing. Great. That's done. So now we just wait for this to be done. Okay, I think the oil is ready. The surface is starting to shimmer a little bit, which generally means it's about the right temperature. But if you want to check, there's one surefire way. Get your fingers wet And yeah, hear that sizzle? When a drop of water hitting it makes that noise, you know it's hot enough. So, now we get on with the exciting bit. Let's deep fry! So we will of course have to do this in 2 separate bits. So let's start with the bottom half, the lower bun. First, we immerse it in the egg mixture. And ooh, a little bit of it came off there. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because this has happened before. And what you do, the next thing goes in is the Uncle Sam, and you just mash it together and hope like crazy that it'll all stay together. It's fine. This is all a little rough anyway. All a little rough anyway. So now it's all together. You take it and you pick it up, and get it over there, and put it in this slotted spoon, and jam it all together, and you put it in the oil. Yes. And this will only take a minute, and once it's kind of brownish and a bit golden, then it is done. Now I will do this with both of them and cut back to the end result. And there we have it, our nicely deep fried mac and cheese buns. Yes. Now, of course, if you have like a deep fryer, you don't have to do that bit with the spoons. That's just my way of faking it a bit. So now we take the oil and put it off to the side and let it cool before we dispose of it, and that'll take a while, believe me. And now we get to the last step, and the most important one. I got mac and cheese on my finger. The most important one, actually cooking the burger. Let's cook the burger. And here we have our burger patty. Now this is just made to, like, sort of standard, sort of a family recipe. There's a bit of unchopped onion in there, a bit of Worcester sauce, a bit of garlic. But I mean, you can do whatever. You can do just like the normal sort of plain plain meat patty if you wanna. Anyway, so a little bit of olive oil. If that isn't too much, I think that should be just about right. And let's get this cooking. And I shall cut back when it's time for side 2. Okay, that's just about ready, I believe. So now comes the final step, the provolone, and there's a little cheddar in there too, actually, because, well, provolone is an excellent melting cheese. It's a little shy on flavor just on its own. So we pop the cheese on top and put on the lid and let it melt. And once it has melted, we will finally be able to assemble our world's most American burger. Cut back to that. And there we have it. And cheese could have maybe gone for a little bit longer, but I didn't want to overdo it by accident. I'll be honest, I'm not the world's greatest traditional burger cook. It's been a while since I've done this, but that should be fine. So now it is time to assemble. First, we take some mayonnaise and spread it on the bottom bun. On top of that, we place the tomatoes. Lovely slices of the tomato. Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! And don't forget to give them a bit of a salt first. Next, the patty itself, the real McCoy. on top of the tomato. Yes, yes, yes! The onion next on top. Then the lettuce. On top of that, the nopales. Yes, just make sure they're resting nice and comfortably. Now, on the top bun, you squeeze some ranch dressing. You can probably use ranch. You could use some ranch dressing for the top and bottom if you wanted, but I like some mayo on my burger as well. So yeah, there's the ranch dressing. And now the Koolickles on top of that. And now finally we put that on top like so.
And there we have it, folks. The world's most American burger.
Or is it? Something's still missing. What could it be? Ah! Oh, I know. Now it's the world's most American burger. Well, I, for one, am ravenous, and I'm not waiting another minute longer than I have to get this monster into me.
So, to the table. And what happened then?
I ate it. Seriously, folks, I did film the last, my usual, on-the-spot sampling, but unfortunately the footage got messed up. I don't know why. I couldn't fix it, so I filmed this bit instead. So I'll just tell you briefly what my thoughts on the burger, and then move on briefly to other things. My thoughts. It was a pretty good burger. It was nothing clashed with anything else. Let's put it that way. The nopales and the onion added a nice little sort of a bite. The nopales have kind of a lemony flavor, which is of course only enhanced by putting the lemon on top of it. Of course you can't go wrong with like tomato, and the Koolickles added an interesting sort of an accent. And mac and cheese. It's a pretty good burger. I say so myself. One thing in retrospect I would say is that it might be better taken on as like a project with like working alongside someone else as opposed to doing it solo like I was doing. Because if there's one real problem that this burger has is getting everything done in time to kind of make sure it's all still hot. I never did manage to fix that. The mac and cheese buns kind of stayed tepid throughout the experimentation process. I never managed to get them like nice and piping hot, or warm even. I think it would probably work a lot better if it was like, okay, one person tackles the mac and cheese and this thing and this thing, so it can all kind of combine together at the last minute with the load being shared, and there we, now we've all put it together. If you want to try it, I would recommend you do that, unless you're like really good at multitasking and you can.
There we go, piping hot.
And I know some of the ingredients are a little esoteric, and not everybody might be able to find them. But even if you don't follow it like to the letter, you can still get a pretty good burger. Replace the Koolickles with regular pickles, leave off the nopales, replace the Uncle Sam with just regular sort of the regular sort of a breading or use a different kind of cereal, it'll still be a pretty good burger. But if you can find those things, I do think the combination is interesting and worth your trying. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the world's most American burger. Now, I hope you liked this video because it's going to be the last for a while. Not that I may still do a few like food videos and maybe a couple video reviews if it comes up, but WEGAF reviews proper, is taking a few months break. I've got too much stuff to do, and I've got other things, other projects and life things that I need to take care of, and it's just trying to put out one a month or so. It's just been, I need some time to actually do this at my leisure and get it done properly instead of, oh no, time, I've got to, so I'm going to take a good few months off and come back in December. At which point I hope to come back in a big way. I won't jinx myself by saying how, but if everything goes as I hope it will, WEGAF Reviews should have a significant presence around the holiday season. Yeah, so that's all I have to say. I hope you like the burger. If you make it, I hope it turns out well for you. And see you in December.